Hello street hunters. Today we're going to talk about a very interesting subject in street photography. Sorry, my mouth is numb because it's quite cold today here in Crete. So we're going to talk about zone focusing and hyperfocal distance. I'm sure you've heard me say that term many times in other videos, so I'm going to explain very simply what zone focusing is. Basically, zone focusing is a form of manual focusing. It's setting your manual focus to cover a specific zone of distance from your camera. So that way, for example, you can have everything in focus from, let's say, 2 meters to 4 meters without having to manual focus or adjust your focus at all. So if you've made your calculations properly and you know the distance in which you're zoning in, you'll always have everything in focus in that distance, which is really cool, and it's much faster than autofocus. In order to be able to calculate your zone focus, you need to know a few things. First of all, you need to know your aperture number. Secondly, you need to know your lens focal distance. Thirdly, you need to know the distance of your subject, a general distance. And fourthly, you need to know the size of your sensor, or if you're using film, the size of your film. If you know those parameters, those values, you can estimate your zone focus. You can set up your camera in order to get the exact zone that you need. In the old days, we used to do that by using charts and tables. You'd have a piece of paper with you that had all the numbers, and you'd check the vertical and the horizontal values and estimate what you had to do and how you had to set up your camera. But nowadays, it's much easier, especially with the use of smartphone applications. So all you have to do is download an application that lets you estimate the depth of field, and that way you'll just set the values for your camera, your lens and your aperture, and you'll be ready to go. I personally recommend DOF Slider on iOS. I am in no way affiliated with that application. It's as far as I'm concerned, the most easy one to use. So I use that, and I know that if I set my camera to f8, I focus at a distance of 1.5 meters. I know that everything from 1 meter to about 4 or 5 meters is in focus, and that's just fine for me. But you can take zone focusing a step further, and that is hyperfocal distance. What is hyperfocal distance? Well, hyperfocal distance is zone focusing basically, but instead of having an end to your focus, you focus to infinity. So for example, when I want to have everything in focus, I know that if I set my camera to f11 using my 18mm lens on my crop sensor, and I set my focal distance to 1.5 meters, then everything is in focus from about 1 meter onwards to infinity, which is cool. That way I don't have to worry about focusing at all. Sorry for the wind. I just set my camera that way, and I know that everything from 1 meter onwards is totally in focus, totally sharp. And that way I only have to worry about the composition and the intensity of the light if I'm using a flash. So yeah, I'm currently walking by the beach. It's a very windy and cold day today in Hyperfocal, guys. I turned back because the spray was just making my glasses all blurry, and I can't even start to imagine what it would be doing to my camera gear. So I'm heading back. If you feel that you need to learn more about zone focusing and hyperfocal distance, you can check the link above or in the description below, where I have written a blog post about zone focusing and hyperfocal distance on the website on streethunters.net. So give that a look. I'll put this action camera now on my Fuji so I can demonstrate how to use zone focusing. I fired up the application. I don't know if you can see the settings, but I'm telling the application I'm using my X Pro 1, so it knows the size of the sensor. I'm using an 18mm lens at f8 and a focal distance at 1.5 meters. So everything, it says, from near focus 0.87 meters to 5.59 meters will be in focus. Unfortunately, today there aren't any people out because it's very cold. So I'll just have to photograph different things so I can demonstrate. So look at this. Now, without autofocusing, I knew that everything from 0.8 to 5.5 meters are in focus. So I know that that shot is nice and sharp. Let me demonstrate what I mean by zone. So I'll just go and photograph something so you can see beyond the zone of the 5 meters. For example, this tree. If I take a photograph, the tree will be in focus, but in the background the walls of the castle will not, because they're out of the zone. Now, if I want to set my camera to hyperfocal distance, I'll choose the following settings. Okay, so I've changed my settings. I changed my aperture from f8 to f11, and if you can see, the application says up there in the top that now I'm focused all the way to infinity. So here, in focus, I have 9,999.3 meters. So I know that everything from 0.75 is in focus now. And this is hyperfocal distance. And I love it. So I know that everything is in focus now. So as I said, F11, everything's in focus. I hope you found the video informative. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to comment below, and don't forget to go and read the blog post about zone focusing and hyperfocal distance on our website. I will be sharing the link, as I said before, in the description and as a button at the end of this video. So stay sharp and keep shooting, and thanks again for watching. Oh, and don't forget to like and share and subscribe. Thanks.